Boom. There we go.
We're back.
We're back. We're back. Thank you so much for all your patience. Uh, this week, I even worked with the internet company in order to make sure that everything's good in the back end and whatever. All right. So up next, uh, new person, Corey Ann. Apparently, this is titled "A Peek Behind the Mask." I know I'm the last person he wants to see, but it's time I return this, his scarf. I arrive at his door, sigh, dreading every moment to come in this interaction. I knock. The door creaks open immediately, quicker than I anticipate. Reese's eyes flashes from my face to the silky scarf I'm holding. What are you doing with that? Always quick with the interrogations. I hand it over to him. I promise I didn't touch it. Well, not that much. His face softens, gazing upon the blush-colored scarf. I thought I lost it. A beat of silence before he gives me a response. May I come in? I'd rather have this conversation in private. I shift my stance several times, waiting for him to break the silence. Maybe he didn't hear me. Desperate to ground myself, I focus on the sounds of cheers echoing from downstairs. Reese stands to the side, allowing me to enter. As the door now closes behind us, anxiety rises, twisting my stomach into even more knots, his focus solely on his beloved scarf. When you fell, it became loose and, well, his gaze pierces through me, always calculating. I returned to the site and gathered all the pieces I could find. It took some time to buy the supplies and then sew what I could back together. I'm desperate to fill the silence, anything to break the tension, even if this feeling is one-sided. Lore, thank you. It's no problem. Shock paralyzes me from saying anything else. Even if I did know what to say, I would still be in shock. It's unlike him to show this side of himself. He's always wearing a mask, not to mention still holding a grudge against me, since I did lie and almost got all of us killed. More silence stretches between us. You don't know how important this is to me. I can only imagine. Unsure if I should stay and say something else, I make my way towards the door. The sound of my soft footsteps feels heightened by the lack of any other noise. Lore? Yes? I turn to face him. In this moment, I get a peek behind his mask. The usually tense and grumpy Reese melts away. He stares at the floor. I'm not sure if it's due to him feeling uncomfortable or embarrassment. He clears his throat. I'd like to take you up on your offer. His grip slightly tightens around the scarf, but still holding it delicately like a precious flower. Reese tears his eyes away from the dark and slowly rotting floorboards as he asks, "Can you teach me to read and write?" "Of course," I smile at him. "Good," he nods. For now, I make my exit and leave him be with his thoughts and his newly repaired scarf. We may have our differences, but I do hope Reese can reunite with the woman who gave him that scarf. I retreat to my room, taking stock of material I have to start mentoring Reese. Dun dun dun. I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. Yeah, I noticed that when I was watching. Chat's talking about a reverb or something that they heard during the author interviews. I heard that last night as well.
I
Not
didn't
sure.
get that, but I'm getting it now.
Yeah.
I got nothing over here, but that's not saying much.
Uh, we had just gotten back, Bitzer, so that was Corianne. Yeah, it comes for a few seconds and then goes away. I saw that last night. But hey, we're getting through it. We're going to get through the rest of these. Very well done, Corian. Rough draft, but definitely something that's definitely interesting. I did not see it coming that he couldn't read and write, and maybe that's what their fight was about. Really cool. Okay, who is next? Spinny spin spin. Lee Strangely. Two of our newbies back to back.
We got an ad break in progress right now.
Okay, gotcha. Good news is that Styx and I were able to fix the multi-stream issue on his nights, so it is also running on YouTube.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I wasn't hearing it at all, but then again, I'm not listening to what is going live.
For me, Izzy was robotic, like kept going in robotic, but I don't know if that's the signal here at the hotel or in the mountains or what. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the consensus is it's fixed. They said it was just for a second and then it's gone. So I think we're good.
Yeah. Because Bitzer doesn't know how to stop writing. Even when listening to things, still writing. It's okay. All right. Lee Strangely, welcome to the show. Nope, I gotta move. All right. Job well done by Lee Strangely. When the glass shattered, every conversation in the hall went silent. Light gasps fluttered through the air as the footsteps and grunts got closer. Johnny held back a smirk as he sipped his glass. Baffled guests cleared the way as two guards marched straight through the gala, dragging a man as he kicked in vain. It wasn't what it looked like, I swear, he shouted. I didn't even get to touch anything. I told that cretin the skylight was a terrible idea, Johnny muttered to himself before subtly raising a finger to his earpiece. All right, Danny. Basil was captured. How far did he get? They probably spotted him the second he touched the floor, Danny guessed. He was fast, though. They tackled him just before he could get out of the map room. He smiled. Well, that's a problem for him. A win for me and one less problem for us. Now, back to work. I'm going to meet up with Jerry and get you those keys. Johnny twirled and weaved his way through the sea of guests. Swimming through the crowds was something like a dance to him. It was a ballet, and it required a delicate touch, or rather, no touch, technically. To the many passers-by, he may as well have been a ghost. It was the first trick he ever learned. Truth be told, he probably enjoyed it more than actual dancing. In almost no time at all, Johnny slipped away and into the men's restroom. It was thankfully empty, apart from his reflection in the mirror. Age was clearly catching up with the roguish blonde, albeit slowly. Catching a glimpse of himself, he adjusted his bow tie, and he couldn't help but instinctively fiddle with his hair and proud mustache. He was so engrossed that hearing his cell phone ring startled him. In an instant, the phone met his ear. "Hello, Shirley," he answered. "Shirley?" the woman asked on the other end of the line. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I call you at work?" "It's all right. I'm just waiting on a colleague right now." "Hmm, Shirley," she cooed. "Interesting name choice. A little old-fashioned, don't you think?" "Just trying to keep to the theme." She continued. "So what do I call you then?" "You don't have to call me anything," Johnny said, occasionally eyeing the door. "So what's the theme this time? Colors? Favorite candy bars? More Renaissance painters? They wouldn't be good code names if it was obvious." "Come on," she pouted. "How about you come up with your guesses and I'll tell you when I get home." "Do I at least get a clue?" "Trust me, you'll like the sound of it." It was around then that Johnny finally heard the creak of the restroom door. "See you soon, Shirley. Love you," he said before slipping his phone back into his pocket. The man entered the room, leaning on the tiled walls as he caught his breath. He wasn't much older compared to Johnny, though the few wrinkles put the man some years ahead of him. The silver in his curly hair further added to it. But at least that feature had the benefit of pairing well with outfits like the form-fitting dress he was wearing. "Jerry, where have you been?" Johnny asked, looking him over as the man caught his breath. "Are you all right?" "Sorry," Jerry panted. "Got here as soon as I could. But this dress is not made for running, nor the heels." "Then why did you wear them?" Johnny countered as he ran up to support Jerry. "Because the dress with the legroom is being mended, and your call was very last minute." Jerry finally regained enough composure to stand up straight, brushing his hair away from his face. "Anyways, I saw Basil get dragged off. How far did he get?" "They nailed him right at the end of the map room." "Shit," Jerry grumbled as he pulled out a wad of cash from his purse. "Thank you," Johnny muttered as he pocketed the money. "So did you find some keys?" "Yeah, sure. Just let me." Jerry rooted through his purse some before giving up and proceeded to dump everything into a nearby sink bowl. Coins, lipstick, paper scraps, cards, necklaces, credit cards, bracelets, wallets, pocket knives, passports, and that was hardly the half of it. Johnny gaped at the pile. "You just needed to get a random set of car keys. What's all this?" "Sorry, I was bored. And honestly, how could I not? These people in all their tight, fancy clothes are carrying so much stuff, and they're so oblivious. I swear, some of these people have the peripheral vision of a rhinoceros." "Look, I greatly admire your skills in thievery, but you are a damn pack rat." "Keys!" Jerry chirped as he fished them out of the pile and tossed them to Johnny. Johnny put his finger to his ear. "Danny, we have the keys. You in position?" "Ready when you are," she replied. In that time, Jerry had begun fiddling with a nearby vent grate. Eventually, he went back to his pile of spoils and took one of the pocket knives, using it to tear the grate off the wall. Johnny put his hand inside, dangling the keys over the ductwork chasm. "Keys incoming." And like that, He dropped them. Danny? It was silent. Danny? He asked again. Got him, Danny finally replied. And do let Jerry know that he has good taste in sports cars. I almost feel ashamed about what I'm going to do with it. Did you get everything? Car's loaded, bags loaded, and afterwards, we'll be loaded. Johnny reiterated, I mean it. Did you get everything? Yes, I did. Don't worry. I'll see you outside. After those last words from Danny, the comm went dead. Johnny turned back to Jerry. That's our cue to rejoin the party. Why don't we just leave? Jerry pouted as the two left the restroom. We don't want to look suspicious, Johnny argued. We leave with the rest of the guests. And when are they leaving? I'd say right about. Johnny made a pointing motion as if to punctuate something, but nothing came of it. Dismayed, he tried again. Right about. His movements got slower with each try, only further cementing his visibly growing denial. I don't think that's how these parties work, Johnny. Johnny tapped his comm. Danny? The two jumped as a shrill siren ripped across the room. Not a second later, attendants began to usher all the frightened guests outside. There was no doubt about it. The fire alarm was finally fulfilling its life's purpose. Right about, Johnny uttered, pointing a fingered gun at Jerry. Now. Jerry rolled his eyes. The two let themselves be swallowed by the crowd, the movement, the chatter, the confusion. They rode it like a wave, letting it take them all the way to the street. Outside in the dead of night, with only a sole few lamps to keep the sidewalk just visible enough to walk on, they slipped away with ease. Danny, carrying the bulk of two full backpacks, emerged from a nearby alleyway. The car? Johnny asked her. Did you? A mysterious stolen car filled with stolen artifacts is currently careening down Adams. They were interrupted by the crunch, smashing plastic and broken aluminum frames from a block or so over. And if it wasn't noticeable enough, the streets were then serenaded by the painful cries of two car alarms. Danny corrected herself as she put the backpacks down. My bad. A stolen car full of stolen artifacts is currently lodged up the ass of a parked car over on Adams Street. She couldn't help but crack a little smile. Police believe it is a botched getaway attempt from the museum robber, and that the coat left inside might in fact belong to the culprit, who in fact could very well be a guest standing outside as we speak. Johnny couldn't help but smile with her. Jerry wasn't as amused. So which one's mine? Jerry asked, gesturing towards the bags. You pick. Jerry snatched away the one closest to him and began checking through its contents. Johnny muttered to Danny, Did you? Yes, she responded, reassuring, but still annoyed. Yes, I did. She handed him a small, resealable bag. I didn't touch it. Well, not that much. I was careful. I promise. Johnny held it up closer to the light. The necklace's chain shimmered in the lamplight. Danny picked up the other bag. I guess this is goodbye then. Johnny kept admiring the jewelry. Thank you. Danny gave a salute, then strolled down the dark street till they couldn't see her anymore. Jerry finally looked up from his bag, glimpsing the necklace in Johnny's hands. Really? Jerry asked, puzzled. That's all you went for? It's the only reason I did this. He tucked the bag into one of his suit pockets. Though, it really wasn't for me. Who's it for? Johnny didn't say a word. Fair enough. Jerry slung the backpack over his shoulder. I do hope one day we meet again, under different circumstances, under our real names and our real lives. You know, actually get to know one another like proper friends. Like normal people? Johnny smirked. Hey, a man can dream, Jerry shot back. The two chuckled before exchanging their final goodbyes. The final two thieves then went their separate ways, wandering in two different directions, rejoining the shadows. Dun dun dun.
Bravo, bravo. I know who the necklace is for. I know who the necklace is for. At least I hope I do. Very nicely done. Very.
I'm catching up on the chat.
Gotcha.
Well, what's this? Wait, who's coming after my duct tape? My duct tape. My duct tape. I'll have to watch that later. Death's Head, aka Wilhelm F. Ruffy. More spider cult. More spider cult. Okay. Oh. Time stood still as Sarah looked between the three figures in the entry hall. Her father, with his arms thrown wide, looking serene. Robert gritting his teeth as he took aim with the pistol, his hand shaking. And that hellish white form of Tula Tarn, falling from the ceiling towards Robert, knife-like fingers stretched out like a net, hell mouth open wide. She gripped the shotgun tight, her eyes flicking between the three as sweat beaded on her skin. Still in the grip of that singular moment of time, Sarah turned her gun upon Tula Tarn and fired, the twin slugs sailing out through the air and striking the spider priestess in her middle. It did not crack her carapace, but it did knock her aside to land sprawled a pace away. Lacking shells, Sarah dropped the gun at her and pulled out a flare. As it burst into flames, she shouted, "Fire! The monster fears fire!" Robert ripped out a can of sterno and set it alight, hurling the makeshift missile at the spider monster. She hissed, scuttling backwards with frightening speed as the burning can rolled across the aged timbers. Maximilian screamed, "No! No, we cannot burn the bringer of the flood, you maniacs!" He charged right at Robert, Sarah scooping up the shotgun and sprinting to him herself. She greeted her father by smacking him on the side of his head with the heavy metal barrels, knocking him to the floor with a grunt. All the while, Tula Tarn scuttled around the chamber, an alabaster streak flitting to and fro across the walls. Holding burning flares, the two hoisted up the moaning Maximilian and raced towards the door. Sarah and Robert made it 10 feet when lights flashed from the outside, blinding them in brightness. A shot rang out, then another, forcing them to drop to the floor. That was when the scent of smoke reached them, a crackle echoing through the entryway as the burning sterno can caught one wall alight. "Damn it all, what do we do?" Robert hissed as another bullet whizzed over their heads. "We have to go out the back," Sarah replied. Shadows loomed in front of the door, the voice of Lowry shouting something outside as the crunch of boots drew near. With a grunt, Robert fired 3 times through the doorway, then rose into a crouch with Sarah, pulling Maximilian along the warped and aged floorboards. A wave of heat hit them then, the shouts outside growing panicked. With each passing second, the fire doubled in size, the light of the flames banishing the dark. All the while, Sarah kept her eye out for Tula Tarn, brandishing the flare whenever the spider priestess drew nearer. She ducked with Robert down the main hallway, past rotten portraits of long dead logging magnates. A shriek cut through the air, Sarah freezing as dust fell like snow from the rotten ceiling. "She's here!" Sarah shouted, jumping back as the ceiling gave way. Tula Tarn dropped down from above, whirling her knife-like fingers about. Pain shot through Sarah as those claws shredded the back of one hand, the flare dropping from her fingers. A roar ripped through the air, the manor trembling as a hellish wave of heat flooded over them. Sarah hurriedly drew another flare as Robert lit up another sterno can. The spider, though, hissed, slicing through the floor with her feet. She seized hold of Maximilian, dropping through the hole as she whispered, "Such troublesome creatures." Panic ripped through Sarah as she hurried to the edge, Robert shouting as she grabbed hold of her. "You can't just drop down there after her." "If she kills my father as a sacrifice, then all we've worked for will be for naught." Sarah took a shuddering breath, brushing back a few hairs. "And she'll have killed my father." "Damn it all," Robert uttered, seizing her hand and clambering down into the abyss below. Above, flames ripped through the manor, the fire illuminating their way down. The shaft below the manor ran down through the rubble-choked basement, and then deeper still, down and down and down, seemingly into the heart of the earth herself. Robert gritted his teeth, climbing with one hand while clutching a torch in the other as the wind rising up the shaft grew in strength. Flaming debris from the conflagration overhead began to fall around them, burning ashes and charred cinders heavy enough to drop through the building gale. Robert tried to say something to Sarah, but no matter how loudly he screamed, his voice was lost to the building gale. Indeed, his coat began to lift him up, forcing him to shrug it off lest he be dragged back into the burning mansion overhead. Damn, that's some powerful wind. Shit. All right. The bottom of the shaft arrived suddenly, the darkness parting like a curtain to reveal an ancient mine shaft cutting through the mountain from one side to the other. Robert dropped down onto the hard stone floor, waving the flare to and fro as he looked for any sign of the spider. He saw only a few claw scratches in the floor, leading into the darkness ahead. That was when Sarah seized hold of him and pulled him the other direction. With a shout lost to the gale, he forced her to move in the other direction, heat rising around them as they rushed into the tunnel together. They were perhaps a dozen paces into the confined space when a world-shattering crash ripped through the air, knocking Robert off his feet. When he turned, he saw that a large portion of the manor had collapsed down the shaft and now burned in a great pile right where they had been standing. The wind lessened enough for Sarah's voice to reach him. "You fool! The spider took my father the other way." "But her claw tracks go this way," Robert said, pointing out a few of them. "What? But I saw spiderwebs the other way." Sarah trailed off, swallowing. A crackle cut through the air, a support beam behind them catching flame while nearer ones smoldered, smoke curling through the gale like black serpents. Robert scrambled to his feet, Sarah at his side. As they pushed against the wind down the mine shaft, the ground began to gently slope downward, the wind abating into a whispering echo. Around a sharp bend, they came to an abrupt end. The tunnel ran right into a blank wall, a vent overhead letting the air in while the two old carts stacked up against the end of the tracks. Robert paled, looking at the vent shaft for any sign of the spider's ascent. Sarah, though, walked to the blank wall, running her hands over the stones. The ground shook, a grating noise rumbling through the very earth as cracks cut through the walls. "What did you do?" Robert demanded. "Nothing. I promise I didn't touch anything strange," Sarah retorted, stepping back from the wall as her eyes darted to and fro. "Are you sure?" "Well, not that sure." At her words, the wall collapsed, a flurry of screeching bats flooding out from behind the crumbling veil. Robert dropped to the ground, Sarah joining him as the bats fled through the barrier. Only when he rose did he see that the stones in that wall, which had blocked their way, were mortared with spider silk. Beyond them, the walls and ceiling and floor were covered with the substance. And out of that shadowy, webbed gauntlet echoed a rising chant. Sarah rose and then seized hold of a minecart, Robert joining her. They lifted it over the pile of rubble blocking the tracks, avoiding the adhesive trap all around. With a final exchanged glance, they jumped inside and began to roll it down the winding tunnel towards the source of the noise. The rattle of the cart twinned with the chanting, the darkness folding around them until they emerged into a great circular chamber. Here, Tullatarn, Lowry, and Maximilian were gathered around an altar dedicated to something utterly alien, with a form like 10 melting globules arranged like a constellation, and each one with smaller orbs around its circumference like planets in orbiting like the rotting stars. Robert had only a moment to take in the scene before the violence commenced. Lowry drew a gun, while Tullatarn leaped onto the ceiling above, Maximilian remaining in a kneeling posture before that dark entity's visage. Robert shot Lowry right between his eyes, knocking the hat from his head. To his horror, the man straightened up, revealing that he was already dead, his flesh piloted by unknown powers. The cart struck the end of the tracks, barreling over and launching Robert out into the massive webs. He ripped one arm loose and burned away the silk, then tossed the flare at Lowry's body, trying to set him alight. Instead, his missile missed, the undead doctor taking aim with a rifle. A second flare knocked into him, his hair going up like a torch. Sarah staggered to her feet beside the cart, shouting, "Father, stop this madness!" "It's much too late for that," Tullatarn cooed from above, scuttling over the roof stones as she poised herself to strike. A rumble shook them all, Robert rising as he fingered a can of Sterno. He watched Lowry's body flailing about as Maximilian prayed before the altar. Another rumble shook them, stones creaking and cracking as a rivulet of flames entered the cavern from the other side. "What the hell is that?" Sarah cried. "Yeah, what the hell? What the hell?" "Someone is dropping incendiaries from above," Robert muttered, his eyes flicking to the vents in the roof of their own cavern. Tullatarn hissed, pausing at one of them. That was when Robert made his move, hurling himself forward. He kicked over Lowry's. Sorry, when I get scared, I get tired. He kicked over Lowry's corpse and stole the man's jacket, wrapping it around his arm as he had done before. A rattle echoed through the air, a stick of dynamite flying down into the chamber from above. As Tullatarn jolted back from it, Robert took aim and fired. His shot hit her hand, bouncing off her carapace, but knocking loose her grip mid-stride. She fell hissing to the ground and landed only a pace away. Robert tossed the sterno can to Sarah as he shot her once again, his bullet ricocheting off her eye. "Very well, I shall make you my sacrifice," Tullatarn snarled, hurling an armful of silky tangles upon him before lunging. Robert remained calm, holding up his arm like a shield. He caught her mouth on the coat, letting her dagger-like fingers slash at him. All the while, Sarah ran up behind them with the sterno. Tullatarn laughed, kicking up her back legs and slashing Sarah, the can clattering to the ground. "Silly mortals. I have eyes at the back of my head." "Shame you don't have them in your mouth," Robert retorted, reaching around and seizing hold of her head as he set off another torch in his wrapped up jacket. "But I will have that hug now." The spider screamed, a burning pain ripping through Robert's arm as the jacket was engulfed. Sarah scooped up the can and doused the spider priestess, her whole body bursting into flames. 4 screams echoed through the cave. The burning pain in Robert reached a crescendo as his flesh began to sear. Tula Tarn let out a mortal cry as she fell to the ground and rolled around like an insect under a magnifying glass. Maximilian bellowed as he tried to hurl water upon the spider priestess. And Sarah, poor Sarah, had to fight her father to keep him from extinguishing the spider while watching Robert burn.
Yeah. That's where it ends.
No,
No.
smoke choked him like wafting in from no man's land. The ground shook like artillery shells striking, and the cries of dying rang through the air like a foul bell. And all Robert could do was watch as Sarah and her father scuffled. At last the water was hurled upon him while Tula Tarn fell silent and still. Another stick of dynamite fell through another vent, followed by a stream of gasoline. The pain, the explosions were too much. Robert fell to the ground, a burned, ruined husk, as the war before and ahead raged through his mind. Stabbing sunlight brought Robert from his dreams, pain shooting through his body as his eyes fluttered open. Jeremiah stood over him, shaking his head as the dawn filtered through the trees. The old man daubed at Robert's burned arm as he muttered under his breath. Robert reached up with his good arm and grabbed Jeremiah's collar, hissing, "What are you doing, old man?" "Calm down," Sarah said, floating into view. "He's treating your burns. You did a number on yourself." Robert grunted, sitting upright. Around him was a small clearing in the redwoods on the slopes of a hill. A nervous Ignacio stood nearby with his rifle, while Jack leaned back against a tree, glaring at the bound form of his own father. Smoke rose on the far side of the valley, wafting upon the winds. Robert swallowed. "Is that—" "It was the mansion," Robert said in a tired tone. "We thought you were dead when we came on it all in flames." "And then your bombs almost finished us off," Sarah muttered. "We had no choice but to try and slay the spider priestess," Jeremiah said defensively. "And is she dead?" Robert asked. "You saw her burn," Sarah said. "I've seen a lot of things in the last few days." "Yes, Tula Tarn is gone," Maximilian said glumly. "All of our hard work gone like that." "You should be grateful you're not dead, cabron," Ignacio muttered, a sour look puckering his face. "Regardless, we owe you a debt of gratitude," Jeremiah said. "I can't pay the bills with gratitude," Robert muttered. "You won't be paying bills like that for a long while," Sarah said, putting a hand on his shoulder. "Jack and I are taking you into the sea with us." "And what if I don't want to go?" "You've no choice, I fear," Jeremiah replied. "The authorities have placed a bounty on your head. Those on land, at least." "Great," Robert sighed. "Hey, it could be worse," Sarah said, offering him a smile as she brushed her fingers through his hair. All Robert could do was nod, closing his eyes and gritting his teeth against another wave of burning pain. Despite his protests, after all of that fire, the water sounded soothing. After taking a deep breath, he rose to his feet, Sarah helping him up. Together, he began the trek to the Pacific. The dawning sun shone brightly as they made their way down the river and thence to the sea. It was a long walk to those windswept shores. There, Robert had his last smoke for a long while, then dove with the others into the waves, leaving behind a tangled web which none of them could truly unweave.
Death mean you gonna have words. The dad? Really? The fucking dad? Presumed dead. Presumed as a sacrifice. Presumed to be taken for powers beyond fucking belief. But no, it's the fucking dad working with the goddamn spider!
Julie Rage has been triggered.
You know what? I take back what I said. He should have been eaten by the goddamn spider. I take back what I said. He should have been eaten.
And then in the comments going, the end.
I'm gonna the end you. I was so worried. You can ask these two last week. I'm like, no, they did not go through all this fucking trouble getting Jack back, getting the dad back, all this fucking shit. Just to have one of them fucking eaten. You know what? I take it back. He should have been eaten by the goddamn spider and had a fucking flare shoved up his ass.
So we're going to turn this one into a book, Daph?
Oh, he has no fucking choice. He has no fucking choice. The whole document better be in my fucking inbox for me to be editing very soon. Somebody owes me a fucking
You heard her.
snack, and Red Bull, and fucking Squishmallow, and
I mean, come on. You've had the arachnophobic, excited for a spider cult. I mean, come on.
I mean, you had all the elements.
Yes,
especially for
spin.
Izzy, you had all the
Spin.
elements. You had the spider. You had the old, historical, basic white man thriller going off here. You had all of these fucking things that drew fucking Izzy in, and I'm sitting here going, okay, I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a chance. And before I know it, I'm like, why did he get eaten by the goddamn spider?
So that gets followed up by number 19.
Yeah. I gotta sit down for this one. Oh, no. Oh. Strap in, gentlefolk. Number 19 has a reputation. Hello again, my good little audience. Make yourselves comfortable. Relax for me. You're so good at listening. Now, behave and prepare yourselves. Brent was back. That sounded entirely too enthusiastic. This was his third session, and I have plenty of other clients, though I will admit to a small bit of favoritism. Something about his sessions just worked for me. Really increased the southern humidity. I'm rather certain it's how pathetic he is, which is truly a statement considering the nature of my work and my clientele. There are rubs and salves, or there are subs and slaves who just play the part, those who own the role, and those who don't know that it's where they truly belong. Brent falls into the last category, a wolf, a sheep in wolf's clothing, masquerading as an alpha male while his mind screams at him to submit. I'm so glad you could make it. Your timing is excellent. You see, we've already skipped all the boring parts, the business side of things, the undressing, the prep. Now, you just get to sit back and enjoy the show however you see fit, clothing optional, of course. As for Brent, I have him cuffed, ankles and wrists, to a very special chair. Not only is this chair bolted to the floor, but a section of the seat has also been cut out for, well, I know how vivid your imagination is. Do let me know if I need to speak up over the buzzing of the vibration. It is on max power at the moment. Brent should be sufficiently quiet, though. I've decided that the gag is mandatory for him. He's infinitely more attractive when he isn't talking. 0 times infinity is still 0, of course, but I do enjoy seeing balls in his mouth. I also have him blindfolded again. He requested it this time. After his exceptionally rapid arrival during our first session, he has asked me to help him work on delayed gratification to maintain the right level of anticipation. Once he was blindfolded and bound, I informed him that I would be conducting his session in nothing but my heels. I slowly paced around him, his head turning to follow the soft click of my heels on the hardwood. The muscles in his arms and legs are so tight, pulling against the restraints whenever he twitches. He's holding back so much that I can count his pulse from the throbbing vein in his neck. Shall I take things a step further? I pause in front of him and straddle his right leg, letting my full weight rest on his knee. I can feel the vibration through his body as clearly as he can feel the lack of fabric between us. "Ugh," he groans around the gag. Now, not yet. All I did was sit down. Surely that isn't too much for you already. He shakes his head back and forth, an uncoordinated jerking motion. I place 2 fingers on his chin to stop him, letting them glide down his neck and over his chest. I take a quick detour around his navel and trace his groomed happy trail lower. I lean in closer, my chest brushing his, as light and calculated as the first bead of sweat tracing his spine, my breath hot on his ear as I whisper, "Ride the edge. Stare over it into the void, but don't jump. Not yet. I'll train you to find the pleasure in waiting. Doesn't it feel so good already? The buildup, the hope. I can see it bouncing in my peripheral, feel it tapping against my leg, a telltale sign that a man is at limits. But limits exist to be pushed. I place a single finger on the tip, stopping the bouncing with my nail dimpling the flesh of his crown. I can hear the hard rubber of the gag, his jaw clenching so hard. I promise I didn't touch it more than that. Well, not that much more. That's it. Keep holding back. Good boy. Wait, did he just relax? Oh, I see. Or perhaps I should say, good little bitch. His back arched against the chair, his face staring blindly up at the ceiling, every muscle in his body strained almost to the point of injury. He jerked so violently that I was suddenly forced to do my best rodeo impression on his thigh. "Ah," he said, this time yelling around the gag. When you've done this job as long as I have, you learn how to translate distorted speech, like a dentist. What he just said was that he's, yep, there it is. Sticky warmth coats my fingers, and I let him hear my sigh of disappointment as I stand up off him. I go clean off my hands and wipe off his leg before I get dressed once more, leaving him bound, the toy still seated firmly. Let the overstimulation be his punishment. He has disappointed me yet again, and he has come to expect consequences for doing so. I took my time putting myself in order before I eventually let him off the hook and removed the toy and his bindings. He waited until I had stepped back before removing the gag and blindfold himself. He kept his eyes down, whether from shame or obedience, it didn't matter. Your longest yet. Congratulations on your personal records. Records, plural, mistress? Indeed. Your stamina and lowering my expectations. Ah, shame then. I can almost taste it as his whole body flushes red. I guess it's job security at least. He nods and gets dressed. I walk past him, out the door to the front office space. Brent joins me a few moments later, standing across the counter from me. I would like to schedule my next session, mistress. I've already told you not to call me that once we're up front. This is the last time I will remind you before you're banned from this establishment. Regardless, I already have you penciled in for the same time next week. You can leave now. Until then. His eyes go wide with fear at his mistake, and he stumbles over himself to apologize. Apologies, ma'am. I'm so sorry, ma'am. It won't happen again, ma'am. He quickly turns and leaves before he can find another opportunity to slip up while his brain is still reeling from the session. The bell above the door rings as it shuts behind him. I turn to look at you, a predatory smile growing on my face as I lean over the counter. Now, what about you, dear audience? I have some time before my next appointment. Shall I schedule you for another session as well? Do you have any requests for things you would like to see to sate your voyeurism? I'm always open to suggestions, and Brent is always open to experimenting. Dun dun dun.
That was definitely dancing on TOS, I think.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
The chat.
The comments.
How many do we have left? Who has to follow? Number 19?
Either Trisha or CM Will. Oh, doggy. Oh, God. I don't care if that author never, ever freaking submits again. I want more of that shit in my inbox. I'm just, it's the power. It's the power. It's not even the thing that they're doing. It's power. CM Weller. I don't remember how I felt the last time we read an installment, but
Hellenistic Cowus. They brought a feather. Number 19 brought the rest of the bird.
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Doc. Yeah, that was really pushing it, number.
That was really pushing things.
I had fun with it. That's all that matters. Screw everything else.
I am merely gonna go with no call.
What?
Okay,
I
man.
can't hear you, Julie.
You're not going to.
She
What
said
you
no
say?
comment. She said
No
no
comment.
comment. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we are on to CM Weller. Let's oh, not me over here with Jack and Coke too to top everything else off. Woo-hoo! All right, CM Weller. I don't remember how I felt the last time we read something from this, but it's called interspecies relationships. Yeah, denial. That was always stage one of the torment cycle. Phil knew it well by now. Deny there's any danger at all. Tell all the soothing lies. Calm the new grace of elves down. This is the elf one with the tree. Oh, so, oh, God, oh. Get them to relax because harmony in the home is important. More important than listening to warnings or worries, that was for sure. Denial lasted 20 days at the most. The adults praised Phil for being brave and exploring the house tree and lands. They never asked what she was really doing and would likely never know. Phil was finding all the ways she could leave the house tree, all the ways she could get away. Elves had never had any trouble to the south and west. That was the way she planned to go. That way was safer than the adults told her it would be here. So many moves, so many cycles had broken her trust. She found a lot of forgotten spaces, one grown large enough to be a meeting hall. She found a lot of servant pets, frightening the poor things, and also at the end of the 20 days, found the stables for the riding deer. The tamed ones stood proud and majestic, of course. Male and female alike sported antlers. Elves had had centuries to breed the anomaly into them, the same way the beasts instinctually posed when they saw an elf, showing off their antlers to the best light so they could get an apple as a treat. Adults preferred to ride the 8-point or 10-point ones, but they were far too big for Phil and more likely to menace anyone but their bonded rider. Phil bribed those ones with handfuls so they wouldn't stomp or set up some kind of alarm. She needed something a little smaller, something she could mount and dismount without needing something to climb up first. There, the pen that led to the paddock where the weaned fawns were allowed to play before getting trained up. If they had antlers, they were small and unbranched. Some of the fawns, still in their spots, barely had little lumps on their heads where antlers should be. Those were too small. She was looking for the half grown ones that were almost into tack training, the ones with 2 or 3 points to their antlers. The fawns that were too small got more acorns. The ones that were just the right size for Phil got apples that she'd hidden in her skirts for the occasion. They were clever animals and could understand simple words, not as clever as the hominids, who could string simple sentences together and understand a lot more speech, but clever all the same. Phil liked the fawn with the blaze on its forehead and got it used to her touch, scratching under the chin or behind the ears as they were busy with their apple. I'm calling you Sun, she told it. Good sunshine, good. She bent to check. Girl. She read about training the riding deer and how to get them used to, accustomed to touch, teaching them their name. What are you doing with them? The voice behind her made her startle away from the paddock fence as if it burned her. I swear, I didn't touch it, she blurted, realizing too late that the speaker could see the half-eaten apple in her hand. Well, not that much. Her new companion was a young adult of maybe 116, still growing his hair out from the short cut of childhood. The smile on his face was trying not to be there. You're one of the lost birds, aren't you? Come to our nest out of the storm? Storm was one way of putting it. I came here in a cart with a grace of younglings, so Yes, I guess. I'm Iluin. And you are? Phil, said Phil simply, wondering when he'd begin to condescend. The others want to play with the babies, said Iluin. Were you trying to train them? Maybe? Phil couldn't find trust easy to give. This was an adult, even if he was new into the class. What if I was? Well, it can't hurt to get them used to people. Everyone's hands are full with the new children. The other new children, he hastily amended. I could use some help with the deer, and you made it all the way here without setting off the bucks. That tells me you know a few things about handling them. Feed them a handful of acorns or an apple, and they're your friend, said Phil. It's not special knowledge. Not bad for the basics, and you're lucky it's not mating season. The males don't really care if you have acorns if you're in their way. Phil winced. Oh, yes. Don't come in here alone if it's spring. He bugged his eyes for emphasis despite its childishness. You've picked one out, haven't you? Maybe. Well, if you'd like some help training her, I'm here most days after breakfast. No need for sneaking around in future. One of Phil's new advanced words slammed through her head. Paranoia. You saw me? You're one of the interesting ones, said Iluin. Our elders have noticed you're not as upset as the others. Not after the last outburst, where they proved that being upset had no point. It was, to use a new word, futile. They sent me to sleep last time. Now I'm just upset on the inside. He gestured for her to follow and began setting out proper feed rather than offering treats. Iluin sang a lilting song that was more nonsense than real meaning. The fawns that heard it came trotting to the troughs. All of them gorged themselves on the offerings Iluin set there. So, what did you name her? Pardon? Said Phil. The crown doe you have your eye on. He pointed her out. Miss Daystar over there. What did you name her? Sunshine, mumbled Phil. You were watching me. No children going anywhere unseen, he recited. We know you've all been through something horrendous, so we're making certain we're there when you need us. Which leads me back to my original question. What are you doing with them? They'd find out sooner or later, following her around and watching, so there was no point in lying to them. I was starting to train them, get them used to me. All right, maybe a little lie, something they would easily believe. So I can run away on my own power rather than being shoved at someone without warning. Lie of omission. She never said a word about running away with anyone, or for that matter, from anyone. Iluin did not tell her that she was perfectly safe, or start explaining the wards or traps around the land. He said, understandable. Of the lost birds, you're the one who's wound up in the most nests. At least, that was what I was given to understand. And yet, none of you take that to mean I know what I'm speaking about. You understand well. I've lost count of how many houses have tried to call me, ignored me warning them, challenging glare at him. And when the bad things came, they picked me up and shoved me at somebody like I was an urgent message. You want control, he diagnosed. How many times has the upset happened to you? I liked storm better. Something big and loud that causes a lot of mess. Phil held up the bitten apple and cooed, Sunshine, here. Sunshine understood an apple. She would soon connect the word to the treat. You're not answering the question, said Iluin. How many times have you been moved? I lost count. Weren't you listening? Phil took the chance to rub Sunshine's muzzle. Feels like 5 years is the longest I've been anywhere. Lots of places end sooner than it's like a song that goes around in circles. This time she helped Iluin fill the trough with chaff from the fields, scattering the offering with cracked acorns and vegetable leavings that were no good for the garden. Iluin kept working, just waiting for her to speak. Starts with telling the new lost birds that they're safe. Then they get the birds to play games or do a bunch of simple chores, keep us busy, keep our minds off the storm. Then some of the adults talk about adopting the birds, who are the most trusting. Phil held his eyes for a moment as if to say, I know that doesn't include me. Iluin pressed his lips together in a wince. All the while, the smoke gets closer. People near the borders of the holdings start hearing drums and war chants. By the time the house tree can hear them, it's too late. They come in the night with fire and monsters, and the words Harukai, saying them with her full voice instead of a whisper, inward shape. 5 years, said Iluin. You think that's all going to happen in 5 years? Doubt. How Phil hated the doubting. She wished she could grab doubt by the neck and squeeze until it stopped existing. I'm just a child, she sing-songed. I don't have the experience and knowledge of a proper adult who has studied and learned. I can't possibly understand what the true adults know. I'm young and I have so much to learn. She let the tiniest of the fawns sniff her hands. I've heard that too many times, too. Iluin had his mouth open as if to speak, but closed his mouth slowly. I'll grant you have more experience in evacuations, being rushed away from the storm in the middle of the night, but you're so young. It's difficult for adults to see things how you see it. That's why they picked you to talk to me, said Phil, leaning against the pen's fence. You can still remember being dismissed because you were a child. Dismissed? An interesting word for someone of years. I know more. Phil picked at a tiny rough patch in the wood where a branch had been cut away from the words like defiant, what they call me when I tell them I know what they're trying to do, or condescending, which is what adults are when they tell me I have nothing to worry. And they call you difficult after you point at that. Yes, said Phil. What's so difficult about listening and doing things about that stuff? Adults are meant to teach children. Children are not meant to teach adults. It is the way of things. The last trough was full, and Iluin toured back around to activate a rune that set a made stream bubble forth with clean, clear water. Years within the speaker give their words more weight, so they can speak about things they've never seen, and their words have weight. But I can talk about everything I've seen, and my words weigh less than a down feather because I'm young? Exactly. I'm glad you understand. Iluin smiled. He didn't mean to be condescending, but he wound up doing that. All you need is an adult witness to verify your words. Phil resisted the urge to stamp her feet and throw another fit. It would only end up in another sleep spell. The adults who come with us, she said in a cold, flat tone, they don't last. The one steering the cart that came here, he collapsed just after we got in. He didn't wake up. That particular elder had been barely 120, Phil remembered. He was shot with a lot of arrows, but kept the cart moving no matter what. He just broke off the shafts and said everything would be fine. He died with a lie on his lips. The inner fluttering almost doubled her over. Phil wanted to scream. She wanted to cry. She wanted to fight. but didn't know where to aim her fist. Phil centered herself with difficulty and asked, "Who's supposed to speak for us when nobody's going to listen?" Once again, Ai Luin had opened his mouth to speak and changed his mind, going from open mouthed preparing to give a speech through quiet thinking, contemplation, to a completely different thing to say. "You're very precocious for 40. You're very condescending for 116, she returned. Ai Luin put his hands up in surrender. "Fine. All right, you've got me. No more judgment. I know the others will correct me for teaching you early, but I think you'd be happier if you were learning things that would help you have more control. I'd feel a lot better if I wasn't hopeless anymore. If I knew how to do things." They probably thought they were keeping her busy, making sure she was distracted. Let them. If she was coming out of the other side more capable, then she was better from it all. No more sneaking around to find texts about things. No more listening in to half understood. They were going to actually teach her this time, rather than letting her do things to keep her occupied. Work made to keep her busy. There had to be a term for that. "I'll have to talk to the others," said Iluin, "but I can at least start by teaching you how to ride a deer." "Really ride?" she asked. "Not just sit on the saddle while you lead it around?" He sighed. "I can see why they're calling you difficult. Have you been tested for foresight?" "Twice," she said. "No discernible results." She picked at the branch burr again. "I just have a life where events go around and around like Potter's wheel." "That sounds daunting," he said. "It would be dull if only—" He trailed off. If only the storm didn't start the circle off again. Dun dun dun.
I'm really liking this one.
I'm liking all of it.
Oh,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter. Doesn't matter what Bitzer comes up with. All the long form is just it builds and you see the character develop through the way they talk, the way they interact. It's just kind of jelly.
You can see that.
Oh no, in a good way. For the cliffhanger, what? Nah. Right, Doc? I think it's Trisha next.
It's been a while since Trisha went, since we've had Trisha last.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Normally Trisha's like first or near the beginning. I don't know what. Okay. Let's see how she can devastate us this time. It'll be devastating with cuteness or cannibalistic grandpas. What one or the other. Well, there's a vast range to Miss Trisha Jones. I took a deep breath. I will be okay, I thought. It wasn't long before there was a knock on my door. I answered it, and Peter was standing there. "Are you ready?" he asked. "As much as I can be," I replied. "Then let's go," he said, stepping away from the door. I grabbed my bag and keys. I locked the door and we headed down to Peter's car. It was a sweet red sports car. He opened the passenger door. I got in and he shut the door. Then he hopped in the driver's side. We were quiet for a while. Peter asked, "Have you had any experience with shifting?" "No, this is my first full moon as a shifter," I answered, not sure if I told him. "Was it Joe?" He nodded. "Okay, we will help you. When you first change, it's hard to stay calm." "Okay, it's going to hurt, I am sure." "Yeah, but it will get easier every full moon," he said. We went quiet again until I asked, "What kind of wolves is the pack?" "We are a mixed bunch. We are mostly gray wolves, but we have some red wolves and a few eastern wolves, which are a cousin of the gray wolves," Peter answered. "I know I'm the only dire wolf," I said. "Unfortunately, you are the first dire wolf shifter. Most people believe dire wolves are extinct," he said. "Well, I'm proof they are not extinct," I responded. "You're right," he said. After a while, we pulled up to a large building backed by woods. As we parked, I saw a lot of people hanging around the doors. I was kind of scared. Peter must have noticed because he patted my hand. "It's okay, everyone just wants to meet you." "It looks like an angry mob," I said in a whisper. Peter chuckled. "Nope, they're a group of over-friendly puppies." That made me laugh. I got out of the car, and Peter came over to me. "Come on, everyone has heard a lot about you." I walked with him to the group of over-friendly puppies, as Peter put it. He introduced me to everyone, and I couldn't keep them all straight. I apologized that it might be a while before I can keep all the names straight. "It's okay," Peter said. "We are all patient. The only name you need to remember tonight is mine," an older man said. "I am Alpha Vincent. Peter is my second in command." "Hello, sir. Thank you for allowing me to run with you in your pack," I said. "We are honored to help you," Alpha Vincent said, smiling. "Let's get you to your room so you can put your things down," he said. "My room?" I asked. "It's a guest room that you'll be using when you are here," Peter said. "You don't have to live here, though some of us have lived here from time to time." The room wasn't big, but it had a bed and a door I assumed was a bathroom. "It's not huge, but it's nice," Peter said. "You have a half bathroom, which is a toilet and a sink. So, unfortunately, you will need to go to the library to shower." I set my stuff on the bed. "Okay, where's the gym from here?" "Just down the hall," he said, pointing to the right. I nodded. "Okay, when does the alpha want to talk to me?" "We'll go to his office now," he said, handing me the key to the room. It was on a keychain with the room number that matched the room like a hotel. We walked along the hall until we came to a staircase. We went up one floor, and the office wasn't far from the stairs. We entered the office. The alpha wasn't there yet. The office was what you would expect a den or home office would be like. There were bookshelves on every wall and a nice desk in the middle of the room. I looked around the office. There were a lot of books and some decor that was interesting. I went over to the nearest bookshelves. There were some business books and a bust of a musician from so long ago I couldn't remember who it was. I reached out and ran my finger along its nose. "Laura, don't touch anything," Peter hissed. "I didn't touch anything," I said. "Well, not a lot." "Right," he said, rolling his eyes. Not long after, Alpha Vincent came in. "Ah, you're here, Ms. Brown," he said. "I was just about to send for you." "Mr. Morgan brought me here after showing me the room I am staying in," I said. "Good. I hope the room is acceptable," Alpha Vincent said, walking to his desk and sitting down. "It is very nice," I responded. "Good," he said. "Please have a seat. We will talk." He motioned for me to sit. I sat in one of the chairs across from the Alpha. Peter started to sit down next to me when the Alpha stopped him. "No, Peter, Not you. I need you to oversee the setup for tonight. Peter sighed, but did as the alpha said. Okay, but what's tonight? What's Oh, the run. The run. Okay, okay. I'm gonna pout now.
Did we
That's how
404?
we 404'd. That's
Trisha!
all she got to. That's all she got to this week. It's fine. But once again, on the edge of our seats, wanting to know how this all plays out. I'm sorry. In the
Trisha is the world's worst of 404s.
yes, but you know what? I am so used to all the different shifters that I come across. Like it's not very often. You've got bad alphas, and you've got really nice alphas, right? But 9 times out of 10, the first alpha you meet is an asshole in these shifter stories. And here appears to be a nice guy. And on top of that, that they're not all one species of shifter. Dire wolf, brown, gray, like, they're all different. So, like, I mean, hell, the first alpha you freaking introduced me to in your world, I wanted to put my fist right through that nose.
Yeah, such a
Yeah.
fucking idiot. Ah, his son was no better. His son was no better.
No, definitely not. So, there we go.
See, here's the thing. I couldn't make him too sympathetic or too nice or too this or too that because, you know, then it'd be like, well, why did you do that? They were assholes. They were bad guys. Yes, they had to die.
They were supposed to do that. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let me go back up to season 3 in our Discord. We've got Change 6, season 3. This will be due Saturday, June 6th, 2026, 3 o'clock Central. And thanks to Death's Head, um, the date and time on when prompts are due will include an automatically shifting for your time zone date and time. So right now, I know that it is due on Saturdays, 3 p.m. Central. But when I look at it, it says Saturday, June 6th, 4 p.m. because 3 p.m. Central is 4 p.m. my time. There we go. So to make it easier for everybody, when is it due? Look at it and it will tell you the time where you live that it is due. Now, in addition, while Julie gets the 3 numbers up, what happened?
What do you mean, what happened?
I don't know. Any hoozle. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why that got deleted. But yep.
I didn't do that on purpose. I accidentally.
Yeah, it's
No,
good.
that was
It's
accidentally me. I am so sorry. Let me see if I can undo it. Said Izzy, no, I was barking up the wrong tree. It was the right asshole.
yep. Yeah, fat thumbitis. We all have it
Yes.
every now and again. All
Actually,
right.
I'm exhausted. I'm fighting falling asleep.
Yep,
So, which means
that
we need
is
to hurry up and get these numbers picked. So,
right,
Cash
right,
can
right.
go.
So real quick, you'll notice in the monthly Promptcast events, if you open it up, you'll find June Lost and Found. So the whole point of Lost and Found, right? All this month in May, we have been doing make it matter. Find the small little thing, give it a little bit more significance. Find the little things that make your world feel lived in. So now June, we're moving into Lost and Found. Find the thing that was lost and make it found. If you've got a missing scene, you want to go back in and you realize that you need to put more context between two scenes. If there's an item within your story or a lost memory, there's several posts over in the June Lost and Found thread that are options that you could go with. So keep those in mind as we go into picking this week's Game of Jiggies. So
20.
prompts 20 concept. Oh my God. And after the freaking information that my son gave me today, oh, I just lost track of where I was at. It's okay. It's okay. I'm fine, Quintana. Concept: a map leads a character to a hidden island full of mythical creatures. Apparently, later on this year, there's a Odysseus movie coming out with Tom
Yeah.
Holland as Telemachus. I'm I'm not mad.
25.
Here's a line that you can use in it. Now, remember, you can change names, you can change genders, you can change uh, professions, whatever. Change the line how it works with your writing. Don't feel that you're stuck with it. These names and things are usually placeholders. The air felt heavier as Carter approached the forest, like the trees themselves were holding their breath.
Okay, and the last one, dialogue number 83.
Dialogue. I knew how it would end the moment you walked in. Once more for the crowd. Dang! By mere seconds. All right. We'll take a minute or two and we will get the concept line dialogue. And remember, the line doesn't necessarily have to be the opening line. Just let it spark. Use the line somewhere. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? All right, vote, 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 vote. Even if you don't intend to write, even if it doesn't spark an actual scene that you might be able to pick what the rest of us are going to use. Or what you would like to see some of our stories, because a lot of us will continuously write in the same story until we're good and done with the story. And so give us a thing. Where do you see us going? Doc, make us suffer.
I mean, truly, how are you gonna fuck us over this week?
Come on, come on, come on, come on. No, no. Come on, come on. Somebody side with me. Somebody side with me. Oh,
We
now
got
it freaking works.
9 out of 12, which 3 haven't voted.
It's. Are you counting the hold my pen
Mm-mm. That one doesn't
as
get
one of those that has?
not. It doesn't count in the viewers list.
Okay.
All right. Come on, everybody. Vote, vote, vote. Even if you're not writing for the prompt, let's figure out what we're going to do this week.
Yeah, we got a few lurkers. Hi, EJ. Just saying.
Yeah, he does like to come on and have us in the background, doesn't he?
Yep.
All right. Oh,
Dialogue.
shit.
Shit. All right. I knew how it would end the moment you walked in. Good God, not me hoping and praying that, our lovely number 19 would do something with that. Anyway, love to see where everyone is going with things. Don't forget, Lost and Found is our June challenge coming up. Hopefully, whatever the freaking deal was with my internet, because it's back and running. As soon as Sticks started running, suddenly, and I'm hardlined, right? So it's not like my computer is having an issue connecting to Wi-Fi. It's hardlined into the system, and even the kids were having problems with connecting to the internet. So that's it. Don't forget to hang out with us. Don't forget to also bookmark holdmypenpromcast.com, all one word. There's going to be some exciting things happening over there. Firefox appears to have an issue with pulling it up. It says launching soon, but Edge and Google Chrome work fine. Don't know about the other browsers, the offshoot brands. Special thanks once again to the technical rescuing the technical support Shield Maiden and the show. Thinks that he's not important. We could not do any of this shit without him having our. Julie, take it away.
All right, guys. Is have your submissions in by Friday. Or not Friday, Saturday by 3 p.m. Central Time. This week's hot seat for booked for Friday is Rich Felderberg and CM Weller. Yes, our very own Australian is gonna be in the hot seat. Also, bookmark on your damn calendars for June 19th, which is right after our fucking anniversary of us making affiliate here on Twitch. Because guess what? The mods are taking over. And all of us hosts, we're in the fucking hot seat. So if there's something you've always wanted to know, whether that's about the show, about the books, about our process, get in the comments. Spread the fucking word. Otherwise, let's keep ourselves out of fucking trouble. It's summer. Stay somewhere cool. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Be brave, be bold, and always stay humble. And let's just face facts. The world's a better place with you fucking in it. So don't do anything stupid to eliminate yourself with. Cheers, and we'll see you on Friday. Bye, guys.